it just got to a point where it's not okay anymore. I don't deserve to deal with the repercussions of the actions that I take, knowing that I'm taking poison and killing myself. I don't deserve to be thrown back into this constant loop of depression, judging myself, criticizing myself, screaming to the universe, like, why is this happening to me? Well, you just acted out on about five of your addictions. Why wouldn't it be happening? You know it's not good for you. You know all these things are toxic.
Welcome back to the Power and Purpose podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I am Vanessa Soul, your host, and I'm super excited about today's guest. We have Beth Parasmo. She is a holistic spiritual somatic coach, founder of the Feminine Firing Squad, guiding families and children to release trauma, reclaim their values, and align with universal peace and unconditional love. Beth, it's such an honor to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Vanessa. It's an honor to be here.
Who are you and who are you not?
I absolutely love this question. Thanks so much for asking it. It inspired me to write a bit of a poem about it. So I'm going to read it. I'm a helper. I am not a healer. We all heal ourselves. I am a guide who walks beside you and asks where you want to go. I'm not a demander who leads the charge of your life, telling you what you need, because I don't know. You do. I'm an intuitive empath and a curious, active listener. I'm not a psychic who tells you that anything about you that you don't already know. I'm a feeler. I do not know more than what you share with me, nor what your guides channel through me. I'm a recovering, overachieving doer, and I am not a full-time beer, nor do I want to be. I've been to higher dimensions and I love it there, but I also love returning to this dimension and choose to stay here. I'm not Buddha or Mary Magdalene or Lilith or Kali or Isis. I don't wish to be. I don't want to ascend. I like it here on Earth. I am Earth. I'm Taurus Sun, Cancer Moon, Leo North Node, Libra Black Moon Lilith, Taurus Chiron, Aquarius South Node, and Libra Rising. I'm a survivor and a thriver of narcissistic, emotional, verbal, and spiritual abuse, and I'm not a victim. My soul chose these roles long before my incarnation on this planet. I am a holistic coach. I help you address all the aspects of your multidimensional beingness. I am not a coach in a way that some people think coaching is going to give you advice or hand you a proven plan or solve problems for you. I am a space holder and a witnesser of your realization of your infinite and divine connection to whatever you call source. I am authentic. I am no longer adopting or adapting to other people's values and beliefs. I am a feeler and an alchemizer of the realm between the spiritual universe and the physical earth plane. I'm not a seer of past loved ones. I don't visibly interact or communicate with guides and ancestors directly. I am an embodiment of the messages that all guides and gods and goddesses channel through me, sometimes before I meet you. I'm not light language fluent. I get very direct, modern messages downloaded to me from the beyond, and I'm a sharer of them with you if you consent to hear them. I'm not a guarantee. Sometimes I don't get messages. I'm existing in reality, not fantasy. I'm gratefully recovering in several 12-step programs. I am an addict. I'm a scientist. Ayurveda, yoga, energy, intuition, metaphysics, neurology, astrology, these are all sciences that the ancients knew. And I'm not a charlatan or a mystic. I'm a compassionate witness to others' unique gifts, an empowerer of women and children to save the world. I'm a supporter of the shunned, the kicked out, and the abandoned, and the held back to find their voice and use it. I am not a supporter of any bully, bigot, abuser, confuser, warmongrel, mandator, or injustice creator. I have taken back my life for myself after throwing it away, and I am not living by anyone else's rules other than my own. I'm a world traveler. I'm not a silencer, a murderer, a liar, or a thief. And when I'm wrong, I promptly admit it. I'm a priestess of my own heart, a channeler of my divine mother and father, and a dreamer, doer, and myth buster. I'm not a norm. I'm not a dharma or dogma or a rule follower. I am that I am. I'm not anyone or anything else, nor do I speak for them. I am me.
Oh my gosh. That was incredible. You took me on a journey and I have chills still. I had chills throughout the whole thing. I love that that flowed through you when you wrote that out. And just so you guys know, I always prep my guests with that signature question just because it's powerful. And Beth, thank you for taking that opportunity to really see what wanted to express through you because that was incredible. I'm gonna have to like listen to that again. I'm also an intuitive, and you just dropped so many gems. And you could tell that you're seasoned in your own soul, you're seasoned in your own energy, and the capabilities and the abilities that we have as psychics and intuitives, because it's just not easy in general. And then also we have to learn how to have boundaries. Most of us, speaking for myself, I didn't have enough boundaries, but you were gracefully like, I'm this, I'm that, just like, and it created sovereignty for all of us and reminded us how sovereign we actually are, even when we are working with intuitives and psychics and empaths and people that can guide us. So there were so many gems in there. I think the part that's sticking out to me is I'm a priestess of my own heart. Oh, I don't know if you saw me, but I'm like lit up like that. That was probably a specific code and key for my soul. So thank you. And yeah, you guys play that back before we even like go on to the rest of the episode because that was just so gorgeous. And your frequency is amazing. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. It was really incredible.
Mm, yeah. No, no, I'll never say no one, but not yet. You're probably the first person who really kind of like rode that out and just allowed yourself to flow. And I really appreciate that. That was just so beautiful. I can't even get over it. It was so beautiful.
Well,
So
I
beautiful.
love the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a coach. That's what we do. We ask powerful questions. So I sat with it and I was like,
Yes.
this is so good. Like this question, because at first it's like, who are you, who you are not?
Yeah.
Well, what? And then it just started flowing in. I was like, this is really good. I'm gonna start using the question. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, so good. So I want to talk a little bit about your life prior to where you are now. What was it like, being in a corporate career in NYC and then having the courage and the clarity at some point to leave that. What was that like?
It was really wonderful for a very long time, to be honest. I was afforded so many advantages, perks. I learned so much through many industries, and I was living the life. I was an overachieving workaholic, overexerciser, everything, like party hard, the whole nine, and work extremely hard. And it defeated me. I was so exhausted. I got to a point where I had moved from one role that I was essentially working around the clock by my own choice. Nobody's holding a gun to my head, but working around the clock to shift into a different section of the company where I had then two bosses. The workload that I had for me was impossible to achieve. I started coming in on Sundays to do ridiculous things that I just didn't have the time for in my day to day. And I am very healthy. I'm a very physically fit person. I was a personal trainer. I've always been an athlete. I was very committed to my yoga teaching and my yoga training at that time in my life. And I had migraines for the first time in my life. I could not get over a migraine. And I was in pain constantly. I was so exhausted. And I hired a coach for the first time in my life. And they said, okay, what do you want to change? I scheduled it for Sunday night so that I could prep for myself for the Monday morning insanity. I dreaded Sunday was my least favorite day of the week. And they said, okay, what can you change? What can you do for yourself to make this situation better? Because you're in charge of you. You choose. You can live with it and be in misery, or you can live with it and enjoy it. And I just took a hard think on it and
Hmm.
decided nothing. And I'm not willing to do anything. I had already like rearranged my office, brought inspirational quotes and plants and everything. And it just, I wasn't willing to try to put in any more effort into a position where I'd also spoken to HR and, nothing was shifting. So I just said, I have to quit. That's what I can do to help myself. And I went in and I did it wrong. HR told me you quit wrong. This is not how you do things. You have to tell your managers before you tell me. I was like, okay, well, I'm still doing it. So, um, and that was the first job I ever said goodbye to, and then decided I've always wanted to just travel. That's what I've built my whole life around, just traveling. I'd already traveled to a new country every year, and I just wanted to be free. And I took the leap, and the universe caught me.
So beautiful. And I like to talk about the duration between decisions. For you, it sounded instant. So correct me if I'm not accurate here. But was it an instant decision, or do you feel like it took a month or 2 months, or between the time that you quit wrong, quote unquote, or walked into HR? Was that just like a the moment you're like the epiphany, or how did that happen? How long?
Years, maybe
Okay.
a decade, right? Because that decision probably would have benefited me to make who knows how long before that. You can ask my ex-husband, you can ask my roommate who lived with me and heard me just complain every single day, blame everyone else, right, for my problems. It only took that, it was only that quick of a decision. Doesn't mean it wasn't like the hardest, most nail biting, like, what am I going to do? Freak out moment. And that I wasn't like trembling doing it. But
Sure. So there was still some challenge there. And what do you think was like the last straw? Was it an intuitive knowing because you are an intuitive? Was it internal, external? What was it? That like there was probably 10 straws, right? For all of us when we're
yeah,
quitting something. But what was the last straw if you remember?
I think the fact that I was being asked to do two jobs, um, and just the lack of support from, the whole company, because everyone's just doing what they need to do. I need to do this for me to survive. And the fact that I guess the migraine really. So it's always, for me, it's always been a physical manifestation that I can't get beyond this thing. And I'm a perfectly healthy, you know, gym rat, sure, but doing yoga, I had never really meditated before. I was going to like weekly meditation classes, but higher power sends messages through my body. And when I was 20 years old, I got a herniated disc telling me you're complete, your childhood life, your emotional stability is zero. You have nothing to support you. And so this was another one of, okay, your migraines are destroying your ability to even see straight. Like I'm have blurry vision. I'm seeing like little shards of glass and sparkles, and I can't even focus on what's important. I can't even really breathe. So that was a big, oh, yeah, if I keep going in here, it's just going to get worse. There really is no choice to make. It is,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything to help myself because this environment is toxic for me and I need to remove myself. Yeah.
Right, right. And thank you for highlighting that because I think it's so important. And we all know this that the body gives us signs and signals. And some of us still, there's that cognitive dissonance when we get the headaches, when we're getting the migraines, we start taking things for the symptoms, right? Putting the band aid on there instead of realizing, like, what is my body actually trying to communicate? And I have so many clients and friends and people that I know that are in that position, just, they're in between their old reality and their new reality, and in between the two mountains. That's how I always picture it. And the body symptoms are the most important thing, because people will say, like, all the time, like, all of a sudden I have this back pain, all of a sudden I have this, this thing. And it could also be for a relationship as well, not just a job. So I love that you're highlighting this about that part of your journey, because it's so valuable. And then also with your recovery, what was the transition there? If you want to share, where did you really start to make a transition from being an addiction to coming out of that?
That's also a great question. It wasn't until many years later. What I realized today is that I was always an addict. And I love how you're bringing up that, kind of like the body keeps the score, right? It'll always give you the signs. So, and for me, a lot of those signs were depression. A lot of those feelings are I am completely miserable. I don't want to move. I have no motivation. All I want to do is lay in my bed and weep for days, sometimes months at a time. So that was always a piece of my journey throughout my whole life. But I never recognized it as this is actually your addiction until um, being at one of my bottoms, and there were many bottoms throughout my life, but being in a place where I just couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop crying. And I was working in a holistic rehab in Thailand. Um, and one of my fellows, a colleague and who is a fellow today, just talked to me like, I just care about you. And I was like, I just can't stop crying. Like, I'm so sad. I'm so miserable. And he said, well, are you done crying yet? Like, when is it going to be enough?
Mm, mm,
And he then saved me, um, like about 9 months after that, because I was again like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm so miserable. I'm so depressed. I don't know where I'm taking my life. And he just said, okay, well then don't take the actions that are your addiction behaviors and just tell me all the things. Tell me what you're addicted to, and we'll figure it out together and we'll get you into a 12-step program. And my life changed. And that was in July of 2024, just this past year. I
mm.
got into program and it has completely changed my entire life. Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. What an incredible friend and role that they were playing for you during that time of your life. Um, I have something I want to bring into this conversation. I wasn't planning to talk about this, but I feel like some people in the conscious community have a lot of resistance to the 12-step program. And I'm not sure exactly why. What are your thoughts on that? Do you kind of know why? Would you still, if someone's listening to this, would you still recommend that if they need it, obviously? So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts.
It's a really great point as well. I do hear a lot of kickback, and it's not for everyone. It's true. And in 12 step, we recognize we can't bring anyone to program. You can't force anyone to get help, whether it's 12 step or any other healing modality. You can't bring someone in unless they're ready, unless you've hit, your own personal bottom, whatever that looks like for you in whatever program that is for you. And some people can. I see it. Some people navigate different varying degrees of addiction, whether it's full-blown addiction or, different aspects. Um, and they just partake as much as they want, and then they deal with the toxic consequences that come as if, yeah, I get acting as if it's okay. Like this is just what happens, so I just go through it. And for me, it just got to a point where it's not okay anymore. I don't deserve to deal with the repercussions of the actions that I take, knowing that I'm taking poison and killing myself. I don't deserve to be thrown back into this constant loop of depression, judging myself, criticizing myself, screaming to the universe, like, why is this happening to me? Well, you just acted out on about five of your addictions. Why wouldn't it be happening? You know it's not good for you. You know all these things are toxic. So it was really just being at years. I'm 45. At 44, I've had a lifetime of acting out in all these different programs and to just be sick of it. Like I've tried everything, right? I am a yoga teacher. I am a daily meditator. I am a coach. I am training to be a therapist. Um, People do have their own ways, and that's fine. And I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm just here to hold space for people who have an interest and then gently suggest try a meeting. A lot of
Beautiful.
huh.
Beautiful. And I love that you mentioned accountability. Sometimes, in the conscious community, in the spiritual community, it happens. We can get into that spiritual bypassing or just not taking accountability or that victim state. Back to what you said in the beginning, you were like, I am not a victim. I loved that part too. But yeah, taking accountability, like, yeah, what are the habits? And I love how you kind of paraphrased what the universe would say or was saying to you. Like you just acted out on five of your addictions. What else did you think was going to happen? And it's real. Like that's a mirror. That's what we have to really look through that mirror and resist the urge to stay in denial. We have to accept what is really going on. And if you need the 12-step program, just try a meeting. I love that recommendation. I think sometimes in the spiritual community, we can complicate everything. Like, oh, well, they're going to talk about God or they're going to talk about this or you know, and it's just like, well, address those triggers when it comes up. If you need the support, you need the support. So I love that we're just kind of riffing and throwing out those, I don't know, those thoughts around it for whoever. I just felt called to really hone in on that for a second. So I love that.
Could I add something too? Because you did touch on a really important part. It's God, the God thing, right? So, like, I've had to overcome spiritual abuse. I was raised in the Catholic Church and I was abused with someone who was a very, you know, devout Catholic. And so my whole perception of my life was fighting against that. This is bullshit. This is not real. This is only hurts me. Being forced to go to church. I mean, I'm a great student. I loved it. I love CCD. I love being there. I love the theme of love. But I went to my first AA meeting. A friend took me in college, and just the word God is all over the literature. They've changed the verbiage to say your conception of your higher power, whoever your higher power is. It's not written as God all the time, but for me, that's what it was. It was like, I don't know. I don't believe in God at that time, right? This isn't me. This program is not for me. And so I've come into the acceptance of what God means for me, what higher power is, and that's so many things. It's essentially everything that now, because of the step work, I can accept that, when someone says something that I don't actually align with, I don't have to take that as a trigger to make me upset or resent them because we work through resentments in program. That I can then say, great, that's who you go for support. This is who I go to for support or what. And also the money thing. 12-step programs are the longest running anarchist organization in America, let alone the world. They're global. And I feel like there's something too, like it's harder to get clients, for example, to a free program, I think, than something that has a value. So the fact that it's free, I feel like might be a deterrent for some people because they're like, that's not me. I don't need that. I don't need this free, global, wonderful program that's trying to tell me The thing is, it's not actually trying to tell you anything. It's just here and it's available. It's 24/7 love and support. That's what I've received from it. So there's something about, maybe something about our own worth that I'm not like that. I don't use 12 step because I know many people rather pay for a program than just try it, just see what it's like. And there's a lot of judgment and reflection. Like, are these people like me? Are they not? You'll find your tribe if you're seeking it, just like you do in life. Not everyone is for you, right? Not every meeting that you go to will be like, oh, yeah, I love these people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we
Mm-hmm.
learn boundaries and um, taking our time getting to know people and saying, oh, I do like you. Let's meet for coffee. I don't like you. Goodbye.
Yeah. Discernment.
Yeah.
Discernment, boundaries, being aware of what you want, what you don't want, like all of that comes into play. You have so much more sovereignty to exercise when you're aware of it. So yeah, going to a program, being like, yeah, this is my tribe over here. These people aren't my tribe. you know, like you could really create your experience. And I love that we touched on that for a moment as well. And I'll just say this, yeah, the money thing, some of us have a hard, myself included, at times in my life I had a hard time committing to things that were free, right? It's just, that's what it was. Like now I'm a little bit different, but even, it's just like the money, we can, that's a whole nother podcast episode about talking about energy and money and commitment and our focus and things like that and things that we value. But it is part of it. So if you're hearing this, like figure out what your block, quote unquote, is, or your resistance. If, again, if the 12 step, if recovery is along your path, or if you intuitively know that your soul is asking for this, again, if you're one of those people, you kind of have these resistances or these objections to the 12 step. Is it the free thing? Is it the God thing? Like, I love that we're unpacking this. Find out what it is for you and journal around that. Do like a trigger journal. I think that would be really helpful. So I kind of want to move on and get your opinion. Like, what do you think the root cause of dis-ease is? Dis-ease.
Yeah. Great question again. Unresolved trauma. Basic, what we grew up with, what we held on to, what we identified with. We have a saying or a line in our literature: the values we had thought were ours turned out to be someone else's. We had shed or changed these to allow the seeds of our own personal wholeness to take root and grow. I lived my whole life based on other people's values. And whether my values are given voice or asked about, heard, seen, or not, I turned that into a pain. And pain that's unaddressed, that's unseen, that's unfelt, just metastasizes, solidifies, calcifies, and becomes permanent. And it's not forever. We can unravel and unpack it just by beginning to see it. So, any dis-ease we're feeling, it might be, a lot of times things are very, very simple. We just complicate them because there's this misunderstanding with, what is this? I need a doctor to tell me what it is. And then we go to the doctor and the doctor says, I don't know, you're perfectly healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So then people are lost because they don't realize they're their own healer. So what do you think it is? Most of the time, the first thing you say is what it is. They go, oh, well, it could be this, but I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Not crazy at all. You know, it could be that I need to meditate. It could be that I need to, eat a meal, take a shower. It could be that I need to get regular massages. It could be that for me, I had tennis elbow for the first time in my whole life. I don't even play tennis. My elbows were just killing me. So I went to a local energy worker and he just said, oh, yeah, it's just inflammation. And I'm like, oh, left side of the body, elbow, it's my mother wound. I got to work on my mother wound. He was like, yeah, it's inflammation. Oh. And he has this whole machine, hooked me up to it, read all my vitals, and just told me which vitamins would help the best and when to take them. Gone. No more pain in my elbows. So I take a regimen of like, I don't know, 15 different supplements morning and night, and I'm in so much better health. And that's everywhere from the littlest something that's bugging you to, I herniated a disc in my back. Okay, well, that's a bit deeper of a root cause we need to address. Why do you feel unstable? Why do you feel like you can't hold yourself up and stand tall? And every step of that way, we can use our intuition and guides to help us along that process. I hear so often, my heart just hurts. I'm so heartbroken. That was one of my biggest issues. I'm heartbroken. I am devastated. What about a basic heart opener? I get clients who I just lay in a heart opener with a block behind their shoulder blades, lying down for 5 minutes. And they come out of it with this a revelation of, oh, I need to just do this to love myself. That's all I need.
Mm-hmm.
Great, do it. I can just do that. I can just, yeah, you can do anything. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
source is telling you is coming through your body. It's just trusting that no matter how simple or extravagant that thing is, when we do that, when we take that step, the universe just opens up and gives us exactly what we need.
And you just mentioned trust. I feel like when we are integrating our lives, aka healing, working on the unresolved trauma, doing all of that, sometimes self-trust is the hardest or the most challenging energy, to cultivate for people. um Probably because of self-abandonment, when when we're people pleasing, or when we're in narcissistic dynamics, or when we're doing other things, it becomes a survival tactic to put all of our energy and time on everyone else, or on external things in general. So how do we develop more self-trust when we are integrating, aka healing?
Hmm. Also, great question. It's like $1 million question. That's what everybody wants, right? We want to just be able to trust ourselves to know that this choice is okay, that I'm going to be supported. So I know that I am divinely guided, I'm infinitely supported, I'm unconditionally loved always. That wasn't how I knew. That's not what I trusted all the time. One of the techniques that we use in behavioral healthcare is look for the evidence. What proof do I have that I can trust that if I make this decision or take this job or quit this job or make this choice or be with this person or leave this person, that I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. And I feel like a lot of it, especially in the US, is around the very real truth that we might not be okay. You might not be able to pay for all the things that make the life that you want to live right now. But there is a version of this reality that is completely doable and possible for you. So, what do you have to prove? What has happened before? We like to look to the past, not for, getting down on ourselves or necessarily rehashing a lot of deep-seated trauma. But if we want to stay a little bit light about it, just what proof do I have that when I've made a choice like this, that I was fine? Did you like the what is it in the movie where like, did you die? So did you die? It's like, so did you die? Like,
That
are
was
you?
the Hangover movie.
Thank you. I love that line. Like, yeah, but did you die? Are you still here? You're still here. So, like, what was that thing? How did you support yourself? How did you make it? What did you know was true? What showed up for you? I've had multiple times in my life where I just took a leap, like the god Hanuman. It's one of my favorite gods because he's the god of great leaps. When we don't trust, we don't believe that anything is going to happen, but we can't let go of the feeling that something has to change. Then the whole universe is going to rise up and support you. I mean, it would take longer than we have to describe the whole story, but if you can highlight for yourself what times in your life have you done something that you were deathly afraid of? You were so scared. It wasn't going to go right. I can't do this. I can't do this. Stop canting and shoulding and wooding yourself and look for the proof of what actually is, what's actually true. Okay, if I quit my job, I don't have any money, for example. Byron Katie talks about this all the time. If our problem is I don't have any money, is that true? Is that absolutely true? Can I absolutely believe that that's true? Well, no, because when's the last time I quit my job, what happened? Well, my mom, let me live in her house or like supported me and gave me some cash and paid for my food or whatever. Wherever it's coming from, it's coming to you. It's like we have to accept and believe in a way that whatever we're receiving is just here for us. It doesn't matter the source of where it's coming from. It's just ours. It's here. It's for you. Take it. I don't care if it's your grandma, your aunt, your mother, some stranger, it just gives you something. If you're stepping into your own power and doing what you know is aligned, what you know is true, and write it down, like, look what happened. Here's my proof. Here's my proof list that I can go back and say, well, the last time I did something like this, oh, what do you know?
Mm-hmm.
The solution
Yeah.
was even better than I ever could have imagined.
I love that. And what we're doing is we're training the logical mind to trust the higher power, the universe, God, miracles, whatever you want to call it. Like our logical mind, yes, it's here to keep us safe. It's here to so that we can survive the 3D reality. Sometimes it does get hung up on the details, the how. How is this going to happen? How am I going to make my 400K? How? Da, 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 da. It's like, do you want it or not? Are you willing to take the step today or not? Can you be present today or are you going to worry about past or future? It's just like you got to trust. And I love talking about how, and you could riff off of this too in a moment. I love talking about how, faith and fear. Those are the opposites. Like you got to choose. Like, yeah, we all fall into fear. I don't know if it's completely unavoidable. I don't, and if you are, you might be bypassing if you feel like you're never feel fearful, or I think it's just, part of the human condition. But it's just, how can we find our way back to faith? And faith is exactly what Beth is describing. Like, and train your brain. Sometimes we have to train that logical masculine part of our brain to be a little bit more intuitive or surrender, and a feminine trait. And I know you're all about femininity and the feminine work and the feminine energy, but yeah, that surrender is so important. So if you want to share any thoughts on that before we move on, I would love to hear it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Surrender is the first thing that you have to do when you go into program. Give up the whole idea that you can figure it out or that you have to, because higher power figures it out. We don't figure it out. It's not a step. One of my fellows reminded me, figuring it out is not a step. So we don't have to do it. We don't have to take that step. And surrender, surrender, surrender. When I first came into program, I just wanted to like go get the books and get the step work and do it myself and start. And I don't even need a sponsor. I don't need to do anything. I just need to like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it all. And my fellow said, just surrender. You're not, no, 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 no. Don't do any of that. Do not begin. You're not even ready. Just surrender. And I was like, what do you mean surrender? I have no idea what that means because I've lived my whole life in a state of dysregulation and fear. So you brought up fear. Fear is just an emotion, false experience appearing real, right? Or false evidence appearing real. There is no monster. We are not cavemen and women anymore, right? There's no dragon coming to slay us. The monsters are all in our head and they're in our body, right? It's just emotions that we haven't allowed ourselves to sit with and experience. What does fear feel like? What happens in your body? Do you tremble? Does your heart beat faster? Does you feel like you're going to throw up? Does your mouth get all full of saliva? Great. What is that feeling? So there's a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So we have to learn how to experience our own emotional state and then do it. And then take the next step. That's it. But it comes from being able to, that's all addiction is, oh my God, I feel so much fear. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Let me reach for whatever the thing is, a
Right.
relationship, a substance, anything that I'm going to abuse. Putting my attention into like reels on social media, like this is all addictive things because then I don't have to feel the feeling. Yeah, but you also don't get to do the thing.
Right.
you know? Then I'm trapped in this world of
Yes.
like everybody else. I'm exponentiating about this triangulation of what I don't need to be doing. So learning how to sit with your emotions and feel it, and it's not just 12 step, put everybody in 12 step also. Get a therapist, get a coach, get a healer, get a Reiki master, get everything, get an astrologer, because these are all parts of what's going to inform you. How do I sit with fear? How do I sit with this horrible emotion that puts me in so much pain? It puts me in that dis-ease. Then what do I do? How do I get out of it? I don't grab for something that's an instant gratification. That's just a dopamine hit that's going to go away, and then I'm going to be stuck with the same feeling again. I have to go for sustainable serotonin, living my life, doing daily things that make me feel good and support these neurons in my brain that keep me happy, content, feeling good.
Yeah. So would you say that it is expanding our awareness that can help us navigate fear in life? Because you mentioned getting the guide, the support, the therapist, the astrologer, all of those things. And those are tools and practices that help us expand our awareness. So would you say that is one of the energies that can help?
Yes, yes, and yes. Yes, for awareness. We work on the axis of self-realization as in coaching and self-actualization. So, yes, first step is, what awareness are you having around, oh, wow, I'm noticing that when I do this, this happens. I'm noticing when I actually take that risk, I feel okay. At the end of it, I actually did it and I'm alive. Wow. And I took this next step that I can be proud of. My sponsor always says, right action yields right thinking, not the other way around. I'm not going to think myself into a new life. I'm going to act myself into a new life. I have to take a different action to get a different result. So once I have that awareness, absolutely, I have to be aware of it. If I'm never aware of it, I don't know what I'm going to change or how I'm going to do it. But the awareness is key. And then, okay, what are you going to do about that? What's the next step for you now? One step at a time,
Yes.
day at a time. Yeah.
Yes. And what are one of the powerful ways that you help people expand their awareness in your work?
Through body consciousness, and a lot is through pranayama. These are ancient practices that are older than modern medicine. We're talking 5,000 years ago, channeled from the Akash, from the Vedas. So, working with, okay, what are the emotions that I'm experiencing? Whether it's anger, laziness, or like just, I can't move, lack of motivation, or overwhelm, like all these thoughts. It's just like, I cannot control this. So we have the the three energies of air, right? I'm overwhelmed. I can't stop thinking. I'm completely exhausted and debilitated. Fire, I'm depleted. I have no water left. Or I'm completely lacking in motivation. I just want to lay down forever. And maybe you need those. But there are specific pranayama to get you to process those emotions. And they're so simple and they work for me all the time. I look like a crazy person when I'm doing them, and you will. And I think this is the biggest hump to get people over, is that, would you rather look like a crazy person in public for like a minute or three and then not be succumb to your own emotional reactions? Or would you rather freak out, lose your shit, and not be able to manage yourself and be like the literal crazy person who like freaks out on their partner, yells at their kids, or, drives all their friends away because they're like blaming them for not holding their emotions long enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Choose your crazy. It's just like hard, right? Everything in life is hard.
Mhm.
Integrating, evolving, expanding your awareness. It's not easy all the time. There's so many challenges, but it's also hard staying stuck in a life that you've outgrown. Choose your hard, choose your crazy. I really don't care. I've embraced being crazy, and I've embraced rejection, you know, like so much so I feel non-human sometimes, just in that regard, because I worked through it, right? It was It was easy because I also did sales for a long time. So, you have to get through a lot of rejection in order to become really successful in real estate. So that part was easy. And then it was my teacher. It taught me how to do that in other ways. And so it's like I embrace rejection. I embrace being the cuckoo woo woo, person that people misunderstand. I think we have to be okay with being misunderstood too. It's like, what does it mean? You brought up Byron Katie earlier. So if anyone is struggling with this, I know we're not focusing on rejection and all of the crazy stuff that much, but Byron Katie's work might be able to help you. Question and go through that path. So many good things. I love all of the topics. I want to hone it in on just a little bit before we wrap up and really leave everyone with some good insights. Do you have a daily practice or some practical tips for how we can work with our emotions or navigate our emotions?
Absolutely. All that I teach comes from my daily practice over the years that I've honed from about 24 years of personal practice. Daily movement, I have to sweat. I have to practice some form of asana that is specific to what I need. That might be a restorative practice. It is often. And meditation, connecting with higher power. When in meditation, it can look all different ways, but it's absolutely essential to being able to connect with something larger than yourself and knowing that you're not alone, and also being able to spend time in silence and stillness. I cannot emphasize it enough that when we get quiet, we have 72,000 nadis whirring around our bodies at all times. Even when we are sleeping, most of us are still processing our food that we ate way too late, and our body can never rest. So if we can't spend time in actual stillness and actual rest, this is why I teach yoga nidra as well, because we're actually getting REM sleep. In those moments when we are physically still is the time when the subconscious mind actually gets a chance to come online and be like, oh, we can process this stuff now. So you can do it consciously as well. None of this is mandatory. Everything is just a suggestion to try on. But sitting with what's coming up for me, what feelings am I feeling, and what parts of me are needing to express. I work a lot with the feminine and the masculine inner children. So asking them what they need. You might need to go throw rocks in the sea or smash sticks against a tree, or you might need to, get really pretty and put on earrings and necklaces and dance around your house. But really listening to what is it that I need today? And if you have a connection to your higher power, you can ask higher power, how can I serve best today? And if we don't have a higher power yet, to me, that's the number one goal, and being able to sit in meditation and listen to yourself. So that's where we channel. That's where we receive all the guidance that we ever need. Yeah.
100% agree. Thank you for that. And do you have any final words or a message you want to leave us with about any of your thoughts around empowerment and or purpose?
Mm. I love I love the whole title of the podcast. I love everything about what you do. Yeah. Empowerment. Everyone has You are your own healer. Everyone has the ability to heal everything that is an issue, problem, whatever you want to call them, challenges. It is you. It is no one else. If not you, who? If not now, when? Right? You are the one. You are the chosen one. You are the divine, right? Every single person is higher power in a conglomerate together. You are infinitely connected to the beyond, to higher power, to all of your angels, ancestors, guides, gurus, teachers, loved ones, everything. And your purpose is there lying just underneath your Chiron, right? The thing that you've already resolved for yourself, you've gone through this wounding, it's very specific and unique to you. And once you can come to the other side of that, it's right here, it's right on the other side of this reality. It's always here with you. When you resolve it, when you can be regulated, that is your purpose, to help others see that same path is possible. that they can also come from this darkness into the light and be able to share it with the world so we can all love again.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I love it. You were, if I remember, you're a Libra rising. And what was your Chiron?
Chiron Taurus.
Taurus. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's a it's a good I mean nothing's good about an astrology, but it's a significant one to work through.
Yes.
Because insecurities around money and security and the comforts of life and diving in, wanting to be comfortable all the time, fearing discomfort, like working through all of that. So now I feel like I can see and understand so much about your path just through that, and I love astrology. So, so many good things. I wish we had more time. I'm going to give you guys some info on how you can connect with Beth. And then, Beth, in just a moment, once I give them your website and some of your links, if you want to share any offers or anything that you want to tell us about, that would be great. Her website is breathewithbeth.com and it's in the description. So just scroll down. You can click on it right there, right there. Then also we have her Instagram link, her YouTube link, and her Facebook link. And I will hand the mic over to you. Leave us with a yes, your service offer, and then also a powerful quote to end, and we'll wrap it up there.
All right. You can reach me at some events I have coming up. I am offering a free one this Sunday here in Austin. Um, I'll put some info on my social media about it. I just joined the Alchemy Collective, so here I'll be running some online programs around breath work. There's also my Feminine Firing Squad program that you can join any month. We do a full year of working with walking away from toxicity in all areas of your life. So it's a lot of really deep healing in a group setting. You can also work with me to have a birth chart reading, to work one-on-one. I have a few slots open for my daily in like kind of midday time to work with coaching around utilizing all of your astrology, your Ayurveda, and the quote that's coming to mind. Oh, here we go. It's from BKS Iyengar. Is the pose begins when you want to leave it, and I think it's really quintessential in terms of life. Like your life also begins when you want to leave it. So follow that nudge, take the leap, be like Hanuman, and let the universe hold you up. Yeah.
That's deep. Thank you for sharing that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. Thank you, Beth, for your time and your energy and your wisdom and all the things. It was such a beautiful conversation. Namaste, everyone. Have a great day.